I actually was detained in Heathrow for 6 hours. I have a blog on that. We had an ongoing ticket back to southern Italy. That was all cancelled. The other way that the lockdowns affected us is we were going to volunteer at Glastonbury Festival this year.
Oh,
and that's been cancelled as well.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's one of the worst possible.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, welcome to the Quarantine Quality Podcast. My name is Adam. Today Stan can't be with us. We have, however, a very interesting guest, Nilla from Nilla's Photography. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Right. Well, I'm originally from Australia, have Italian heritage. I've been travelling for the last 6 years and have just got back to Australia. I've been living in southern Italy for about 4 years and travelling around, but we were coming back to Australia for probably about 5 weeks just to clear up some things here. And then we were supposed to go to the UK for a wedding, then back to Italy. And of course, COVID-19 has destroyed all those plans. So that's been quite an interesting year, but obviously it's been an interesting year for everybody.
I do have to point out as well, it was a very good answer because a lot of the times we do this on purpose. We just can't say, oh, tell us a bit about you, because it trips a lot of people.
Yeah.
And but no, you handled that perfectly.
Well, thank you. This is one of my first podcasts I've done, so I'm a little bit nervous.
No, it's fine. Don't be. It's just a conversation, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I do want to mention, so you are a blogger, and you are
Yes.
a professional photographer, aren't you?
Yes, and my other profession is a technical writer. That's what brings in that brings in the money.
Oh, okay.
It's a profession that a lot of people don't want to do. We write documentation, we develop interactive help for software. It's not like in the 90s where you had your help on your software just loaded a PDF file, for instance. Now you know that everything's interactive.
Yeah.
So that's what I create or design, and I do a lot on usability. Yeah, that's kind of my passion, and that's my uni degree sort of thing. So, yeah.
Okay, I see. Oh, that sounds very cool.
Yeah, I started a master's and I only had like a couple subjects to go, and I exited with a diploma, postgraduate diploma.
Yeah.
And that was like 10 years ago, and now I can't get back into it. If I was going to finish my master's, Australia's got this thing that now if it's 5 years that you haven't been in the university, then you have to start all over again.
Really? So you'd have to go through an undergrad?
No. You start the postgraduate masters all over again.
Right, yes, sorry, misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's still annoying.
It's it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And time. So usually postgraduates are working by that stage. I think, I don't know what percentage it is, but a lot are, and you don't have that sort of time to start it all over again.
Yes, no.
It doesn't sit well anyway. Like, you've done the hard yards up until that point. They should recognise it.
Yeah, it does sound a lot of effort just goes out the window if you have to restart it again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't really done a lot of research in that. I wasn't aware. But I have looked at your portfolio of photography. You've been to so many places. I'm so jealous.
Have you looked at the Nilla's photography or the Image Earth travel?
Nilla's photography.
Yeah, I haven't finished. I built that site and I haven't finished loading the countries on. There's about 62 countries I've been to, I think.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's not many. Still got a lot to go.
Well, I mean, in perspective, I'd say it's still a decent amount. A very decent amount.
But I'm a very slow traveller. I like to really take time in a country and try and stay there as long as I can before moving on.
That sounds like a very good philosophy to have. Do you like getting to know the culture? I'm guessing you do if you like to stay there.
Yeah. Yeah, I do, and at least know a few words.
How long do
Yes,
you usually stay in countries?
as long as I'm allowed to stay,
Oh,
because
okay.
of yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm an Australian passport. We don't get a lot of, like, say for instance, in the whole of Europe, I only get 3 months, and then
Mm,
I have to exit for 3 months.
right. Okay, I see.
That's not quite right. It's 3 months in the Schengen area, which is about 26 countries. It's not 3 months in Italy, 3 months in France, 3 months. It's just 3 months in the whole 26 countries.
Yeah. Okay, I imagine.
I think yeah.
What about the UK though? Because the UK isn't in the Schengen. No, 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 it is in the Schengen area. Right? Um,
No, 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 it's
it's
not
not.
in Schengen.
Oh.
Australians, when I arrive, I am granted 6 months.
Hmm.
I,
Okay.
I actually was detained in Heathrow for 6 hours. I have a blog on that.
Can I can I say why? Ask why?
Yeah, sure. Um, So it goes back to my partner and I bought a motorhome, a really old 1997 Fiat motorhome.
Mm,
I think it was in 2015. And we went to Europe from the UK and travelled around there for 3 months and then came back in to Portsmouth.
mm,
And Border Force guy that was on duty that evening, I think he was just having a really bad night and he
mm.
gave me such a hard time because he thought that I was an Australian that was basically, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this program.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my colleague will edit this. He'll decide if you can bleep it
Okay,
out.
okay, so taking the piss, and apparently he was telling me Australians go into Europe for a couple of weeks and come back in, so they renew their visa for 6 months.
Mm,
Right? And, we'd been out for 3 months. We had our motorhome, all this kind of stuff, and he was writing a lot of stuff. And it didn't really click to me what was happening. So,
mm,
I mean, he was really, really rude. He even went as far as to say, because obviously he knew that my partner was English also.
mm.
So he said, well, why don't you just marry your partner? Then you won't have any problems here in the UK.
Oh,
And I was thinking, well, that's not really a good thing for a border force person to tell me.
no, it
And
really
then,
isn't.
and then, like, I was trying to get citizenship back then,
Mm,
and I had all my paperwork with him, and I told him this is what was happening, and he said, "Oh, you should just. Italy is easy to get into. Just ask all the Brazilians that have had citizenships there." It was really, really unprofessional.
yeah, it
So
does.
anyway, he stamped my passport and off we drove. But I was really, really angry at him, and I thought he's just having a bad night, so I
Mm,
let it go. So then what happened was a few months later, we were actually going to Thailand to volunteer for 3 months.
okay.
So we did that. We went to Thailand, came back in through Heathrow, and the Border Force person in Heathrow pulled me up, started asking me really aggressively different questions. And I asked her, I said, what have I done wrong, sort of thing. And she goes, well, see this stamp in your passport? That
Mm.
means that the last officer had a problem with you. So this is why you're going to come with me and we're detaining you until further notice. And I'm thinking, oh
What?
my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
So they, it's a really, really long story, but it was pretty stressful and it
Can
was
imagine.
just the worst time that I've ever had experienced in 30 years of travelling.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Basically, when you're detained, you have
Yeah.
no rights. You're kind of in this limbo position, as far
Mm.
as I can understand, that you can't ask for a solicitor, you can't do anything. They can detain you indefinitely until they are satisfied that you're no threat to the country. And
Seriously?
that's basically what I was told
Whoa.
on that on that day. So the lady basically said to me, "We're detaining you until further notice, until someone can come and interview you, because we don't know whether we're going to let you into the UK or you're going to go back to Australia."
Whoa. That sounds like it should be some kind of violation of some law. These
No,
human rights law.
it's not. They
It's
can do
awful.
that in
That's
any
awful.
country.
Yeah. How I have to ask, how did all this finish? How did it end?
Okay, so the first border force guy in Portsmouth actually put a flag on me. That
Yeah.
flag lasts for 10 years,
Okay.
right? So every time I transit through the UK
Yeah.
or even travel to the UK, I can be detained. I wrote letters to Border Force, Home Office, everybody. I tried the Australian Embassy, and they just will not take the flag off. Mind you, after the 6 hours, I was interviewed pretty fiercely for an hour, and the
Mm.
lady took down like 21 pages of notes saying that this could be used in a court of law.
Okay.
After all that, she came back 10 minutes later and said, "Oh, we've decided we're going to let you into the country." So I wasn't a threat at all,
Hmm.
but I still have the flag on me.
That yeah, that seems odd that you were declared not a threat, but still kept
Yep,
the flag.
yep. And then I later learned that apparently Border Horse has a quota they have to fill for
Oh.
detaining people each month. Now I don't
Yeah.
know if that's 100% correct or not, but I've actually been online, researched it, as you could imagine, you would as well.
Yeah.
And the person that actually wrote about that sounded like he may have been ex-Border Force or he was still in the Border Force. The
Mm.
way he actually wrote the comment made me think that he was that and that there could be some truth in it.
Mm. Yeah. If that is true, that's very broken. That sounds very broken.
Well, these days, I don't know. I actually think it's harder to travel these days than it was, 20 or 30 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, could I ask why?
Not only because of the regulations and the rules, even though
Mm.
before you had different visas that you had to acquire before you went to places, or whether you're travelling in Europe, you had to, you were stopped at borders.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, it just feels like these days that Border Force has a lot more power than they used to have.
Mm.
Maybe it's
Okay.
just my experience from being detained. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be able to tell you how easy it was a few years back. I did used to travel quite a lot with my family as a kid. It was quite nice actually because my parents bought a motorhome and we went all over Europe. We did actually go to southern Italy as well, so
Huh?
to Pompeii. I don't know if you've been.
Yep,
Uh,
not to Pompeii, no.
no. Oh, I
Yeah.
really like it, but I do like history and that sort of Roman classic, well, classic Greek as well, culture. So that was really, really good for me. It was amazing. People were fine. I probably was too young to actually know how nice people were, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't, because I've mainly stayed in Europe, being from Barcelona, it was quite easy to go around. The furthest I've gone, well, I've only gone twice internationally, gone out twice internationally, Vancouver and the States, and then a year later Tokyo. That's it.
I haven't been to Japan yet.
No, oh, I would recommend it. I do have to say I don't think it's a very adventurous place,
Hmm.
but it's really nice culture-wise. Well, you being from Australia, you may have some influence from Japan in products and whatnot. But me being from Europe, it's so far away. The closest thing to Japan having any influence would be anime, right? So it
Yeah.
was very different, very different. But and food is amazing. I loved it there.
You'd like Australia then. We have a lot of Japanese food here.
Really.
In
Oh,
Brisbane especially, yeah.
that sounds really good.
We have a lot of Asians that live here actually.
Mm.
So it's like a melting pot of different cuisines. We pretty much got everything.
Yeah, but it because it was so far away in the way of life as well. Because my girlfriend is Japanese, and we stayed with her family for some time, and culture because that's the first time it hit me. You know how different culture is, and I saw it
Mm.
firsthand, and to me it was amazing. But yeah, I wanted to ask as well, which is the main point of the podcast, I guess, is
Sorry,
how
we digressed.
yeah, a little bit. No, but it was very fun. I definitely didn't know, how bad Border Patrol was. So, but
Yeah.
no, but yeah. Let me ask the question: how has COVID-19 affected you?
Well, we actually arrived in Australia from Italy on the 2nd of February,
Oh,
and we were only supposed to be here for 5 weeks.
mm,
And while we were here, because we were renovating a house,
yeah,
so while we were here, obviously the virus flared up and everything was cancelled. Like we were leaving Brisbane I think it was the 3rd of April, and we had to go to a wedding. So my partner's son was getting married in the UK, so
mm,
that wedding was cancelled. We had an ongoing ticket back to southern Italy, that was all cancelled. We had flights booked, buses booked, everything booked,
mm,
and it was all cancelled. That's mainly how it's affected me. But I've actually been too busy renovating to really stop and think about I guess not what's going on, but to
mm,
have a really great effect on me. Plus, I'm really busy with writing blogs.
mm.
So I, I just don't have enough time. It's funny because I see things online on Facebook and Twitter, how people are so bored and they're in lockdown and they've got nothing to do. And I think, God, I've been so busy every single day that I've been here. So, and we're in May, like June's tomorrow.
Yeah, that's crazy to think.
Yeah, so I guess that's the main way it's affected me. Uh, and not able to visit friends and family is a big one.
Mm. How about work-wise? Because we ask this question every
Yep.
time we get someone on here, and a lot of the times, like you say, they're either very bored, or in terms of work, it hasn't really changed that much. It's just it was hard to adapt at first at home because I didn't have to go to the office like myself. Um, but then it just got very easy, so it's now a new normal for everyone. How has it been for you?
Well, I haven't actually been working in a paid job.
Mm,
I've been kind of working on my own photography and my posts and stuff. That's kind of self-employed, but
mm.
I have started looking for jobs here because obviously you can't really live in Australia without working because it's got very expensive in the last 6 years.
I see.
So with COVID-19 in Australia, what's happening is that there's a lot more people out of work. So that work pool is greater,
Mm,
and I'm finding it a little difficult to pick up work this time around. Usually it takes me about, I don't know, 4 weeks to
mm,
pick up contracts. I'm usually working as a contractor for government or pretty much for government, sometimes private companies.
mm,
Yeah, so it's been, I think, about 5 weeks, so maybe I'm a little bit anxious to pick up work.
mm.
But the other thing I've really noticed is that a lot of jobs that are advertised, employers are rolling in 2 or 3 roles into the one job. So it's becoming a lot more expected of the person for
Yeah.
a lot of money because it's an employer's market here at the moment. They can do almost what they want.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I have noticed that as a huge difference and a huge change shift in the Australian job market.
Doesn't sound ideal.
No, it's honestly, it's not a good environment to be looking for a job here. I
Mm,
don't think maybe in any country really at the moment because with
yeah.
businesses closing.
Yes, no, in the UK we find ourselves in a similar situation. We do have the furlough scheme, if you've heard of it. I'm not sure if you have
Yes.
that in Australia.
They've got a little bit, but you have to jump through hoops.
Mm,
It doesn't apply to me because I haven't been in the country and I didn't have a
yeah.
job. in the first place to
Yeah.
lose it.
Yeah, I see. No, so in the UK, so even though we do have the furlough scheme, there's still when it first started, when we didn't have the furlough scheme, a lot of people became unemployed. I think, while quite a few have found jobs like at Tesco's or supermarkets, stuff like that. There's
Yep.
still about 1 million people unemployed, which I guess it's not that much considering the UK's population, but still a lot, really.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
so
Because
yeah,
that's
it's
the knock-on effect, isn't it?
yes, exactly. I've seen things online how airplane pilots they've had to go to Tesco's because they have no work anymore and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They were, I think, actually, at the beginning when all this started, the UK, no, some company basically who flew just within the UK borders collapsed. They were a Flybe, I think they were called. So yeah, we've had instances like that, and it's been a big issue as well here. Even though we do have the furlough scheme, it is a very good, it's a very good scheme to have to keep things going. To be fair.
Yeah, it is. I just wonder where afterwards, if this
Mm,
ever ends, uh, where are the countries going to get the money to recoup that furlough scheme?
yeah, yeah. They're saying that in the UK at least it's going to be worse than the Great Depression. So that's not
Yeah.
encouraging.
No, and here they're saying that unemployment's going to rise to 10% or more next month.
Oof.
So that's starting to get really high here.
Yeah. Well, that's why actually here in the UK they see the Bank of England, I think, or the former head of the Bank of England said that the furlough scheme is key to keep things going, because if we lose the furlough scheme, people lose their income, so they won't spend on things when shops open back up. So
Yep.
everything will just stagnate again.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's not it's a grim outcome, but um,
Yeah.
it, we went into a very grim topic.
We did actually, but I mean, it's on everyone's minds, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard to avoid it, and I don't think avoiding it wouldn't be a solution either. It has to be recognized. It's not going to go away. At least we can expect it now.
Yeah, and we have to address it definitely.
Yes.
The other thing I was going to say is
Mm.
the other way that the lockdowns affected us is we were going to volunteer at Glastonbury Festival this year,
Oh, oh,
and that's been
that's
cancelled as well.
yeah, that's horrible. That's the one of the worst possible.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've done it 3 years.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, as fire stewards, and this year we'd been accepted again, but obviously it's at the end of June and that's all cancelled.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's awful. I'm so
Mm.
sorry.
Oh well, still here.
Yeah. Still. No, but at least if you've got to do it 3 times, at least it's not the first time around. That's
No,
not too
that's
bad, I
right.
guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I see on their page some people it's the first time they've ever been and their tickets were cancelled and they're saying it's going to be held next year.
Mm.
And I was so disappointed because this year was the 50th anniversary.
Oh, okay. Well, it is special.
Yeah. So they
Uh,
were, and some people that turned 50 wanted to do it to go over there for their 50th sort of thing. So,
oh, that's terrible. That's so
yeah.
sad.
Okay.
Let's start. What was your preferred destination?
Uh, I'd have to say Southeast Asia,
Mm.
Vietnam and Laos, and especially the north of Vietnam I'd like to return to.
But what was your favorite part of Vietnam?
I'd
Southeast
have to
Asia.
say Vietnam, probably Sapa, which
Mm.
is right close to the Chinese border.
Okay.
It's very, very mountainous and it's a little less touristy than the rest of Vietnam.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's untouched, so to say.
Kind of. Sapa itself is got a little bit more tourists in it, but once you go around the region and stuff, it's fairly quiet. But it's freezing cold up there. No, there's kind of like this really grey mist that hangs over the town all the time as well, which makes it really damp, a bit like the UK.
Okay.
We took I've got lots of photos actually on my Nilla photography in Vietnam portfolio. So I think I've still got some photos there, and then I've written about it as well. So
What's your favorite food from what destination? What country?
Thai.
Thai. It
Yep, Thai food.
doesn't Thai food have a fame for being very spicy? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, I don't think I could do Thai.
No?
No, I am a very bland person.
But when you
Spicy.
travel there,
Mm.
if you go to the places where there's loads of tourists, you'll get a Western version of Thai food, which is there's not very spicy at all. There's lots of coconut milk and stuff in it. So
Oh, okay.
they do cater for tourists, and they adapt their
Mm.
recipes to suit the palate, sort of thing.
Mm. Well, that sounds good. But no,
Yeah.
generally I do try and eat stuff from, typical from where I go. But so far, exotic food wise, it hasn't been. I can't say I have a good portfolio of exotic food. If I'm honest, it's like I say, Japan is the most exotic place.
Uh, Actually, you talk about exotic food. I read an article last night about a
Hmm.
particular cheese in Sardinia that's banned in the EU. It's
Really?
called, yep, it's called Marzu.
Hmm.
And what it is they have a particular cheese that's made out of I think it's sheep's milk, and they open it up and let maggots go into it.
Oh.
And the maggots eat the cheese and they secrete this creamy stuff, and that ferments the cheese even more. But when you're eating the cheese, there's still maggots in it. And I
Oh,
was just,
really?
yeah, it just,
What?
I know, I'd never heard of it either,
No.
but it sounds disgusting.
It it does. I can see why it's banned.
Yeah, they said it was, I think one article said that it could be lethal. But
Wait,
then
really?
but the Sardinians obviously don't agree because they've been eating it for centuries and no one's ever died from it, they say.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
I I don't know. I don't think I'm enough of a foodie person to potentially risk my life to eat cheese.
Well, you've got when you travel through Southeast Asia, you've got lots of unusual things that you can try,
Hmm.
like rat.
Rat. Have you tasted
Yes,
rat?
I haven't. My
Hmm.
partner has.
Oh.
I've tasted, I think they were like locusts, I think. Some sort of insect. They actually farm in Vietnam. They farm the insect. I can't remember what it was. I think it was a locust
Hmm.
and crickets. I think it was crickets. That's right. And they farm them, and then you can go and do a tour there, and they cook them up with chili and stuff, and they're very crunchy.
I've heard that. I've never tasted cricket. Probably obviously,
Uh,
but I feel I could be fine with that. Does it is it true what they say that it tastes like chicken?
no,
No.
doesn't
Right.
taste like chicken. No, yeah, I can't get my head around eating crunchy insects. So for me, it wasn't a really nice experience.
Oh, no, if you can't, no, that doesn't sound good then.
No, they're cooked and they don't move around, so that's a bonus, I guess.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I want something that moves around. Like, I know France eats frog legs, and if you put salt on them, they still move. I don't think I could do
Really?
that. Yeah. I think it's something to do with the nerve ending. So the salt reacts with the nerves of the leg, making it move. It's very odd.
I tried that when I was at school. We went to a French restaurant, and
Oh,
I don't remember that bit of it, but I remember it tasting like chicken.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would want to eat frog. I don't know. I've never been presented with the opportunity either, so I'd never have to really choose if I wanted or not. It's always been, would I do it? I guess, maybe.
Sometimes if you're in a particular situation, you haven't got a choice, though.
Yeah.
It's rude to say no. You might
Yeah.
offend the person, the culture.
Have you been in that situation?
Not yet.
Yeah. That's good. I
Not
don't think
really,
I
because
would
what I
wish.
well,
Yeah.
actually, the rat situation, they asked me and I said I'm a vegetarian, so, but I'm
Oh.
not.
It's a good way of getting around it.
Yeah, so they accepted that.
Oh, that is ingenious. Because you're
Yes.
not declining it. You're just saying, "Oh, well, it goes against what I believe," or something like that.
Yeah,
Great.
they don't understand that. But if you say, yeah, that's right. If you say you're vegetarian, that's fine.
I do want to ask then, do you have any recommendations for first-time travelers? Maybe someone who wants to do backpacking. You mentioned you've done backpacking a while ago, right? Oh my,
I've done it. I
yeah.
pretty much do it all the time.
So do you have any recommendations for people who want to start?
I always have used a backpack. I've never not used one. So
Mm.
all countries are okay with a backpack. I mean, you might get some strange looks, like in southern Italy, where I am, usually in Cosenza, you get strange looks walking through the main city with a backpack because they're not used to foreign tourists there.
Oh,
But then I don't really worry about that.
yeah.
It's not like a look of disdain or anything like that. It's just inquisitive looks.
Mm.
They don't get a lot of backpackers down there at all. But apart from other countries that I've been to, yeah, you don't have really any problems with a backpack. I don't think anyway. But I like I said, Southeast Asia is really a good region to travel in, especially
Mm.
backpacking. And a lot of the countries are used to backpackers there because it's a lot cheaper to travel there.
How do you find actually traveling with a motorhome?
Uh, It's pretty good actually. I really like it because it's you're kind of moving your home around with you, and you don't
Mm.
have to look for any type of accommodation apart from a campsite.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to, like, we travel with our motorhome over winter period, so that was a bit difficult in some places because a lot of campsites close over winter, especially in
Yeah.
Italy.
Yeah.
That was a bit of an issue, especially in southern Italy as well. So the furthest we got with our camper van before we ran out of time was just south of Naples, a little place called Pozzuoli.
Mm.
And then we had to turn around and we waited there for citizenship papers and all this sort of thing that never eventuated. So I was actually, I think it was 7 or 8 days late on my Schengen exit.
Oh.
And yeah, we exited through France, and I didn't get pulled up for it, which was really lucky actually,
Oh, yeah, that sounds good.
because if you know anything about Schengen, they can if the country pulls you up.
Hmm.
We were in Cherbourg, so ready to take the ferry across to the UK. But if a country decides they're going to fine you. It's up to the country how much they fine you for overstaying. Plus, they can potentially ban you from the Schengen area for up to, I think it's up to 5 years.
Oh, geez,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I have this. My partner always jokes because the border guy that came through, I just smiled at him. He was French and a policeman.
Hmm.
And he reckons it's because I smiled at him that, we got through and I didn't get hassled and all the rest of it.
Hmm.
We only got hassled at the other end in Portsmouth.
Oh, that's no, that does sound like it. I've actually, I think I'm just thinking about a story now. You made me think of it when you said, you got hassled at Portsmouth. For me, it was a similar situation actually because, well, similar. No, it wasn't similar in any way, but I was not allowed to go into the UK at one point because I forgot my ID. Yeah, and it was very annoying. It was again border patrol. Actually, I have had one bad experience I can kind of relate to, with UK border patrol. Because I still have a Spanish ID, but it's expired now. I didn't renew it because I have to go all the way to Spain to renew it. So I usually use my British passport. Since my mum's British, I get British citizenship by
Yep.
descent. So I was going to see my family in France. They were traveling up by motorhome. I went by ferry. On the train to the port to catch the ferry, I realized I forgot my passport, but I still had my ID. Now, because I was 5 minutes away from the port and an hour away from from where I used to live to go back and get my passport, I decided to go and ask Border Patrol if this is okay, if my ID is okay. I don't know why I thought that it's expired. Looking back at it now, it wasn't a good idea, but at the time I thought I'd ask, and I asked, and they said, "Yeah, that's fine, no worries." They let me get on the ferry to France, and it was fine until I had to come back. Uh, the French Border Patrol said they can't allow me to go back because I don't have a valid ID, so I had to stay there for an extra day while they verified my identity. It
Yeah.
was not good. And I do blame British Border Patrol there because the French were just doing their job.
Yep.
At the time I was naive. I will admit I was naive, but at the same time they could have just said, I mean, if I had to pay a fine because I'm missing a fee because I
Sure.
missed the ferry or something like that, then so be it. But
Yeah.
the French said they reckon they just want to they just want to get the people out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that was very annoying. That I wasn't scared. Because I mean at the time I was at uni as well, so I knew there was many different ways I could prove that I'm living there and I'm doing I'm doing what I have to do there. But it was still very frustrating.
Yeah, I think they've got a knack and they love to try and catch people out. But then
Mm,
a lot of times people are just nervous. They haven't got anything to hide. They're just nervous.
yeah,
But it's almost like they try and just keep poking you to try and make a mistake, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But what did you ask me about what it was like if I liked travelling in a motorhome? Are you thinking
Because
of buying one?
no, no. Oh gosh, no. I don't. I can't buy a motorhome just yet. I actually don't have my car license yet, so I drive
Oh,
a motorbike.
right.
But I asked because I think I've mentioned this before, but I used to travel with a
Yeah.
motorhome with my family, and I just really loved it. Certain bits. I mean, for me, there was a big thing, which is, it, unlike for you, it didn't feel like a house because my family is a family of five, and it was a very
Right.
small motorhome. So having my parents there, my two brothers, and the dog, it was really close. It was very close space. It was very small, so that wasn't good. But traveling by motorhome, I thought that I really appreciate my parents doing that because it was amazing. It was cool. I got to go to France, Italy, go to up to Germany. So some of my friends haven't been able to do things like that, for instance, but they have whatever other cool tech or stuff like that. Whereas we went with my parents on a little old motorhome. I think it's 21 years old now, so it's
Wow.
not very new. And I just thought what you thought about it because it's something I can relate to in a way.
Yeah, I love it, and it's
Mm,
one up from camping.
yes.
It's a bit more luxurious than camping, but I don't mind camping as long as it's not raining. But
Mm,
yeah, but being in a motorhome is pretty cool actually. I enjoy it. We're talking about when we get some jobs and get some money together to probably buy an old one here and maybe do a circumnavigation of Australia in it.
mm. Oh, that sounds really good. I wish I could do that.
Well, especially that now international travel we don't know what's going to happen with it, do we?
Yeah.
If there's going to be a lot of restrictions being introduced, it's going to be harder to travel and, have all these different things that you need. Maybe it's time just to travel around in our own countries.
Yeah, that would yeah, it's uncertain. They're saying keeping the middle seat on airplanes empty, but then that's not really good for the airline. Then they don't make any money even if they fill the plane. So I don't
No, but
know.
if they're going to do that, then they still have to increase the tickets to accommodate for that empty seat, don't they?
Yeah, that's why then, people won't want to buy it's already, I think generally it's about £70 to go to Spain, 150 if it's expensive. I don't feel like if they double the price, people won't want to go. So it is a tricky situation.
It is. Maybe it's also a way for governments to keep their people in their own countries.
Yeah, I guess. Although people, countries like Spain and to a certain extent Italy as well, they would. I don't think they want that. They would lobby against that very heavily because I don't know about Italy, but Spain really relies on tourism.
A lot
Really,
of
really
parts,
does.
well, the northern part of Italy does, and
Mm,
Sicily does, but where I was, no, they don't have a lot of tourism at all.
I see.
That's why it's a poorer part of Italy.
Mm. I think actually I know the Spanish government is in some kind of talks with people, businesses in the business for businesses in the hospitality industry and stuff like that and tourism. I know Japan actually, they are considering partially paying for people's fares to encourage people to go to Japan. But it's not clear yet whether that's just for Japanese citizens or people visiting Japan.
Yeah, I read about that. That'd suit you, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity, go. But like I say, it's not very adventurous. I mean, it depends. I guess depends on which part. If you go outside the cities, then that's fine. But be prepared. If you do go, be prepared to be stared at a lot. I don't know if you found that in Southeast Asia, but when I went to Tokyo, a lot of people were looking at me.
Yeah,
So
that's
many.
just part of traveling, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't mind it. I remember, and I don't know if I was being rude, but I thought it was funny in my mind. This old man, because we were not in Tokyo, we were like outskirts of Tokyo, so I don't think they were very used to seeing Europeans there. And I remember
Yeah.
this old man was walking by and just blatantly stared at me while he was walking by. So what I did is just stared at him back. So the situation was I was turning slightly as he was moving along, and he was looking at me as well. And
Yeah.
I found that very amusing.
Yeah. That's the only way to handle that situation. That's what we do all the time, actually.
Yeah, I don't think it should be taken offense. I don't
Mm.
see that as an offense either. It's don't want to look at me, then it's fine. Make me feel
Yeah.
good. Yeah, thank you for your time. We can continue talking if you want. I just thought because it's already been an hour almost, so I don't want to keep you more than you want to.
No, that's all right. It's been lovely to chat to you. We can do it again another time if you like. Thank you very much for inviting me.